Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat. It's Gina K, and I'm so excited to see you guys here with me. I've been just catching up on a few of your comments, and it's so exciting to see so many of you from so many places in the world join us here tonight. Tonight, our topic is sadness and disappointment. And I know that with everything going on in the world today, it's easy to feel sad. It's easy to feel disappointed. And if you get caught up too much social media, and I certainly did that myself today, it's easy to just kind of get caught up in everybody's comments and reading everything and trying to weed out the negative and the name calling and this and that. And it's easy to feel discouraged. So tonight, I just wanted to make that the topic, kind of sadness and disappointment, and, kind of look at it maybe just a different perspective. So quite often we feel angry, we feel sad, we feel disappointed, and it's okay, and it's important to allow ourselves to feel these things. But it's also important that we don't allow those feelings to make us do and say things we don't want to do. And it's also important that we don't pitch a tent and camp out there for a really long time. And that's easy to do, right? We start to get down on ourselves and we just think about it. And all of a sudden, before you know it, that's where we live. Quite often, people don't tell us how they feel. They show us. So they may say one thing, but then they act in a different way. And it's easy to feel disappointed. Let's see if I can bring your comments back in here too. Yeah, there you go. So, I was thinking about disappointment a lot lately. I've got a lot of things going on in my life at any given moment. And I realize that often we create our own heartbreak through expectation. Things are the way they are, but we suffer because we imagine something different. And we don't really grieve the loss. We really mourn what never was. Does anybody feel that way? Sometimes you think about it and you think, wow, I feel really bad that I lost that, but I didn't really lose anything because it wasn't really there. It was just the kind of what we wanted to be there, and that's what we're mourning. So being anxious, angry, and depressed, that's not God's plan for us, and that's not why we're here. Disappointment is God's way of saying, I've got something better for you. And so we have to replace those disappointing feelings with things we're grateful for. And as hard as that is, in those moments when we feel the most disappointed, if we just take a few moments to jot down 2 or 3 things that we're grateful for, it really kind of changes your mood, because it's really hard to feel grateful and angry at the same time. It's hard to feel grateful and disappointed with things at the same time. I know a lot of you have gratitude journals out there, and I've started one, and that's really been a big help for me. It's really good to journal all your feelings, but it's really good to journal the things that you're thankful for and reread them whenever you need that little lift. And sometimes it's just necessary to let go of things simply because they're too heavy. Well, I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. We are going to make some Christmas cards. It is Merry Monday, and I sure missed you guys all weekend, but Tom and I got a lot of packages shipped out. Tons and tons of packages shipped out. We still have a lot to go, but we were very grateful for the amount of work we were able to get done over the weekend. It was also Tom's birthday yesterday, and we had a lot of fun laughing at work and talking about things that we're going to do in the future once this pandemic is on the other side of us and some of the restrictions lift. We would really like to start camping a little bit and seeing some of the parts of the country, especially all of the beautiful parts that you guys live in, And who knows, maybe we'll go on a little class tour or something. So lots of fun things to think about for the future. Tonight, I'm going to play with some stencils, and I've got two different stencils here that I want to play with. I want to play with the Stellar Snowflake, and I also want to play with the Snowflake Mandala. These are jumbo snowflakes. These are big enough that you could use these for home decor pieces, and you could even do borders and things. I mean, they are just absolutely huge. They're also great for scrapbooking because you can cover up almost a quarter of a 12 by 12 scrapbook page with one of these snowflakes because these stencils are 6 by 6. So I'm going to do some really, I know, shocker, clean and simple cards for you tonight. And I'm going to use some glitter. Now, I am a glitter girl. I do like glitter. I like the Glitz glitter gel, which is really fun through these stencils. But tonight I'm going to do a little bit of spot glittering, and I'm going to use some of the Gina K Designs Connect glue and a water brush. So let's get started right away. I'm going to start with the Stellar Snowflake, and that's this one right here. Now, some of you have this one already. A lot of you but if you don't have this one and you have a snowflake from another company, or you have one of our other mandala type stencils or snowflake stencils, it's a great one to use. Now, I am really making this card from scratch today because I did not prepare anything. So you're going to have to bear with me. I'm going to start by taking a piece of our layering weight cardstock, and I'm going to cut this piece at 4 3/4 of an inch. And I know I could have cut it in half and made this bigger sheet into a card base, but now if I need a bigger piece, I have it, and no sense in cutting it in half and then wasting a tiny strip. So that is 4 3/4, and then I'm going to cut the next cut at 3 1/2 inches. So this is a little smaller than I usually do, but I've been liking this layout lately. I go in waves. I'm sure you guys do. You get hooked on something, and then you do it a whole bunch of times, and then you go back to something else. So I have this strip left over, and I'll keep that as something for greetings or something else later. So now I have two pieces of these that are 3 1/2 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And a lot of you ask me to write down the measurements, and I'll try to be a little bit better about putting those in the description over at YouTube. It's real easy to find these videos after you watch them. I know a lot of you watch on Facebook, and a lot of you watch on YouTube. So if you, if you're looking for them later, YouTube is very organized and it's easy to find. Or you can go right to our Gina K Designs Facebook page, not our group, our page, because it'll just be a post or two down from there. Okay, so now I'm going to cut a couple black layers for these cards. So I have some black quarter sheets of cardstock, and I'm going to cut this one at 3 5/8. So you can see I've got it here at 3 1/2 inches, which is what my white piece measures. And then I'm just going to go up 1/8 of an inch from there and cut. And then I was at 4 3/4 inches for my white piece. So I'm going to sneak that up 1/8 of an inch and cut that. And that should give me that perfect little shadow layer for this card. And you can see that looks pretty good. I like that. You know, I'm a big lover of the thin black layer going around the edge. I'm going to cut one more of those because I'm going to do two different cards. So this is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Now I know some of you even use your electronic cutters for this, and you can do that as well if you've got a Silhouette or a Cricut. You can program in rectangles and things like that to cut. So those are the measurements, and that looks pretty good too. And I'll check it again once right before I'm actually ready to mount them all together. And I'm going to get those out of the way because I'm going to start getting messy here. Now I'm going to use our Snowflakes stencil, and you can see these are our stencil pockets. They fit the 6 by 6 stencils, and most stencils from most companies are 6 by 6. I know some of them are a little longer and thinner. Tim Holtz has a lot of really cool long thin ones, but the majority of them are this size. So if you're interested in storing your stencils, these are a fun way to do it. Now, I do get the question, so I'll just answer it right now. Will these fit a 6x6 background stamp? I'm not 100% sure on the 6x6 clear background stamps because we don't do those. We do 6x6 rubber stamps, and they will not fit in here. They are just too fat. So once you put them in there, it kind of squeezes everything this way. So don't use these for the background stamps. Okay, so I'm going to lay this out where I want it, and I want this snowflake to kind of come in from the side on an angle and kind of cascade down. And I'm also going to be doing some glittering, and I kind of want to look at the areas that I want to glitter ahead of time to make sure that those areas are actually going to be on the cardstock. So I plan on glittering in these little oval things here, definitely. So I want to make sure I catch these two in there. Now, once I have it where I want it, I'm going to flip it upside down. You can certainly use pixie spray for this, but I've got a couple pieces of purple tape just sitting right here. And this is another way, if you don't have the pixie spray or you run out and you're waiting for your order, that's a great way to attach the stencil to the cardstock. I know sometimes people will, stick it in a different way where it actually kind of gets onto the white part of the cardstock, but you don't need to do that. In this way, you're not inhibiting your design at all. Now, the first color that I'm going to use is Sea Glass, and I have a brush here. This is a brush by Simon Says Stamp, and you can see it's already very blue and green. I use this for a lot of blue and green, and I'm just going to rub off any excess color. And then I'm going to start with some of the sea glass. And I'm going to start a little bit heavier in the center. So that means the center of the stencil, not the center of the cardstock. So I'm going to start in the center of the stencil. And then I'm going to work my way out from the center. And then I'm going to work my way down. Now, let me show you just a little trick here. You can either do this with cardstock, or if you have any of this new purple tape, this stuff is amazing. It's less tacky than the original purple tape, and you can just block off the bottom of your stencil there. So this way, as you go down onto the rest of the design, you're not going to get it onto the edge of the cardstock. Okay, so I love the blue, but I really love color blending when it comes to stencils. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of Lucky Clover to this design. And I'm only going to be doing the Lucky Clover right in the center of the snowflake. So just a little bit. And then I might even brush a little of that off on my pink first, so it's not really, really a full blast. I see somebody asked if I was going to stamp away. I do not plan on going to stamp away this year, but it is definitely on my radar for the future. Stamp Away is a big show, and I believe it's in August in Ohio. I know Simon Says Stamp does that show, and a lot of the different vendors and stamp companies do that show too. It's a really, really fun show. Okay, so I added a little bit of green in there, and that just made it a little more blue-green, and then it fades out to that lighter aqua, that's sea glass. So I'm going to just pull that away, and I'm going to keep that piece because I'll probably use it again. And then I'm going to peel off the stencil. So you can see how soft and pretty that blend is. And I just love these big stencils, how you don't have to use the whole design doesn't have to be on the card. Now, if you want to do a big 6x6 square card, this is great for that. But I really love that angle where it comes in. Okay, so now I'm going to do a greeting. And the greeting I'm going to use is from the Holly Jolly mini stamp set. I really like this stamp set for Christmas cards because I think the nice and big and bold, and this is also really great for tags. Somebody asked what green this is. This is Lucky Clover. So you can use jelly bean, you can use apple mint too. Any of the greens, just add a little touch of green in there. But Lucky Clover is a fun green, and I don't give Lucky Clover enough love, so I've been trying to do more of that. All right, so I'm going to put my piece of cardstock up here in the corner, and then I'm going to use the big Merry Christmas greeting. Oh yeah, if somebody was asking about how to clean the stencil, I can show you that, because what I do with my stencils is I take my tidy towel, and I always have one or two of them right by me, and then I just wipe the stencil off with the tidy towel, and that'll get all the ink off, and it's all cleaned off. But if you have things like Glitz glitter gel or in texture paste, things like that, then you might just want to give it a little warm bath in the sink with a little dish detergent. Okay, so now I'm going to use the Merry Christmas stamp for this. Put that right there. And I want to make sure that I still have room to glitter that. I think I will. But even if I get a little bit onto that, I'll just work around it. Okay, so that's going to go right down here. And I love this greeting because it's not really straight. It's really scripty and it's really flowy, so you don't have to worry about making sure that it's straight. If you have trouble with that, this is a great greeting. It never looks crooked. Okay, I'm going to use some black onyx ink, and I'm going to ink up this greeting real well with the black onyx. And then I'm going to stamp it. I need my sleeve tonight. I took a picture over the weekend in the warehouse where Tom and I were working, and I was wearing the same sweatshirt that I wore in in the Flashback Friday pajama party, and somebody commented and said, "I see you're still wearing your pajamas." Or they said, "I see you're wearing your pajamas again." And I said, "Actually, I'm still wearing them." But you know, it's just Tom and I over there, so I don't really dress up much. And we took a picture wearing our masks, because we're wearing masks as we pack orders. And I didn't even have to do my makeup because I was wearing a mask. So, okay, so that looks pretty good. I like that big, bold greeting and that big, bold snowflake. Lisa said, "Did Tom get a tooth for his birthday?" Well, for those of you who don't know what Lisa's talking about, on Facebook and on Instagram, we posted pictures of Tom and I with our masks, and we decided to draw smiles on our masks because we were smiling and we wanted everybody to know that we were smiling. And Tom drew his without a tooth, so with a blackened out tooth. It was pretty cute. So, all right, so I'm just going to have a little piece of black cardstock here that I'm going to use, and I am going to take some Connect glue, and I'm going to squeeze some of it here onto that black cardstock. Now, I also have a little folder that I use for glitter. So I'm going to be using that to sprinkle my glitter, and I'm going to be using some of the Gina K Designs prismatic glitter. Now, if you guys don't like loose glitter, and I know some of you don't, you can certainly use a Wink of Stella pen or a one of the Sakura Stardust pens. But I'll tell you, I think that personally, the glitter really is more sparkly. So I'm going to use my water brush with this, and I actually dip that into some water. I have a little cup of water right here, and I'm going to dip that into the water just to make sure the brush is soft. Now, some water is going to get into the glue, and that's okay. It actually thins it out just a little bit, and it still works really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint some glue onto parts of this snowflake. And you don't have to be super precise, just as long as you don't go too far outside of the lines, because this prismatic glitter is very transparent and it really picks up the color that's underneath. That's why I like this one so much. It really doesn't take away from the color, so it doesn't matter what the color is underneath. you still get that color showing through. It just lightens it up and makes it sparkle. Okay, so I have it on 2 little diamonds there, and I'm going to take some of the glitter, and I'm going to get my little folder here, and I'm going to sprinkle that glitter onto those 2 diamonds. So now you can see I have glitter in those 2 little areas. Now I'm working a little bit like on and off, like I'm going to paint a little glue on and then I'm going to sprinkle a little glitter, because the Connect glue will dry relatively quickly, which is great when you're gluing die cuts together and you're gluing cardstock together and you're gluing embellishments on, but it might be a little too fast if you try to do all of the areas on your card all at once and then glitter. Some of it might be dry. So just do a couple little parts and then glitter again and keep going back and forth. Now, if your water brush, and I did test the glue with this water brush. The water brush does start to get a little hard after a while, but the Connect glue is water soluble. So if you rinse it in your water cup, give it a little bit of a shake, it actually gets nice and soft again. So there's 2 more areas you can see, and then we're going to really blow all of that off. There. So you can see how that's coming together there. Okay, we're going to do a couple more areas, and I'm going to wet this, and then I'm going to just kind of clean it off on a piece of tissue here. Okay. And then I'm going back into the glue again. And sometimes I did squeeze out quite a bit of Connect glue. I probably didn't need to squeeze out that much, but I'll probably use a lot of it here. It might dry before I get to my next snowflake. And I don't even know if I'll glitter the next one. We'll see. Because again, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. Just going to wing it. But I love these cards, and I love a little bit of sparkle with Christmas cards. I think it's really fun. I generally don't use much glitter otherwise, but I love it. And every time I make Christmas cards, I wonder why I don't use a little more. I also do love the glitter pens, and I love the Glitz glitter gel. Okay, so now I'm pretty sure my whole body is sparkling right now because it's all over me. But that's okay. Glitter's happy. So I'm going to put a little bit here in the center. We'll glitz that up and glitter it up. And again, if you get a little bit where you don't want it, you can always go back in with a mono sand eraser and erase it. So I'm just kind of strategically spot glittering. Now, if you want to glitter the whole snowflake, you can use Glitz glitter gel, or you can use Decofoil transfer gel and just put loose glitter right on top of it before it dries. And then once it's completely dry, then you can just brush away the excess and it will just stick to the glitz. So that's fun too. All right, so I'm going to do these little things right here. Just add a little bit in here. Do a couple of them. This is almost relaxing like coloring. I say almost because there is quite a bit of glitter flying around. And if my dog comes by and I'm blowing the glitter off, then she's going to be glittering for the next couple of days. Little Teddy. She's doing really well. The doctor gave her an antibiotic, and some of her swelling went down, and she's still eating and still happy. And so we're just enjoying life with Teddy one day at a time. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, in one of my last lives, I explained that we found out that our little dog Teddy, our little Pomeranian, has a tumor on her tongue. And there's nothing they can do about that for dogs. That's just one of those things where, you know, it's not an easy thing to get rid of. And but Teddy she is 17, almost 18. So she's an old girl. But she's very comfortable. Okay, so I don't know how well that glitter is showing up, but it sure is showing up really well for me. And I will try to capture that when I take a picture. Now I'm going to put this glitter back in this jar. And that's why I use this little folder. But then I do tend to get glitter everywhere. So I want to show you how I get rid of the glitter because it does get everywhere. I use these, you guys probably use these too, these sweeper pads, these little ones. So they're great because they will collect all of the glitter, and you can even, once the card is dry, you can even rub it all over the card and it will pick up any glitter in places that you don't want glitter, which is really nice. I'll just do it right now around some of those areas. And then you can wipe up your whole work area and all of the glitter stays in the rag. And you can put that away in a plastic bag and reuse it a bunch of times before you get rid of it. So there is my glittered snowflake. Now I definitely think that this snowflake needs a few sequins. So I'm going to add some sequins to this too. But I'm just cleaning my water brush. And you can see it's totally fine. It's not sticky. All of the glue came off. Now, if you've got some really expensive, fancy water brush, I wouldn't use that. I would use a cheaper paintbrush, something that you really don't care about that much. But my water brush that I have here was not expensive, and it's fine. I don't mind that it has a little bit of glitter or glue on it. All right, so I'm going to take this black piece, and I'm going to assemble this card. I love all that. So it should be pretty dry. Let me take the cap off. It works better. It should be pretty dry by now because the Connect glue does dry very quickly. And then we'll add a few little sequins. Now the sequins I'm going to add tonight, I know they're out of stock. Some of you already have them. It's the disco ball sequins. We are waiting for things like crazy because so many of our manufacturers are not back up and running yet. But before I do that, let me get a card base. Now I have a bunch of pre-cut tall white card bases here, and I am going to score that. Get this out of the way. I'm going to score this card base. So if you're counting and you're measuring, it's 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. And then I'm going to score that at the 5 1/2 inch mark. So if any of you are having any trouble hearing or seeing, you can always go out of the broadcast and come back in. Sometimes it just needs to do that. All right, and then this is going to go onto my card base. I love the white with the black layer around the outside and then that big white border. Okay, so put that right there. That looks pretty good. And then I have the Connect glue, and I have some of these disco ball sequins. I think this is a really good sequin to use for this look. These are a clear sequin, but they've got an iridescent look to them. So I'm going to use that. And then I have my Connect glue. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one here, right on that circle. It's nice to have the circles because that kind of guides you where you want to put them. I've got some air in my glue here. Connect glue goes on white, but it dries clear. So if you have too much glue, like that might be a little too much glue, it doesn't really matter because if it squishes or it goes outside, it's still gonna disappear when it dries. I'm going to put them on here too. I'm going to go sequin crazy here. Why not? I'm going to need more sequins. So a lot of times I have this really cute little glue holder by Make It by Marco. Let me show it to you. It's this little glue holder right here. On my glue, but that's all right. Let me switch over to the front camera. It's easier to see. So I have this, and this is Make It by Marco, and your Connect glue fits right in there, and that is really nice, and it prevents the air bubbles from happening. Now, this glue was laying flat on my table since the last time I used it, and that's why I have so many air bubbles in it, but it is really nice if you keep it in one of their containers. And they've got an Etsy shop, and they make all kinds of fun little 3D printed holders for different things, including the Tidy Towel and the Connect glue. So I'm going to just plop some sequins on here. And if you wait just a minute for the glue to kind of dry, it gets a little tacky, and then the sequins are really easier to drop on. You can see that kind of happening here. That one. There we go. I don't know. Something about glitter, Christmas cards with glitter and sequins and sparkle. So much fun. Just a couple more. And we'll turn this side to side. These sequins are scooped, but not really scooped. They're flat, but just the little edges curl up. So they're not like a full cup, which makes them a little bit easier to mail because they are kind of flat. Okay, so now I've got all that sparkle on there too, along with my glitter. That's a fun card. I like that. And it was pretty easy to do. Of course, you know, I did smush a little bit right there when I dropped my Make It by Marco holder on it, but I'll just erase that with my mono eraser. So I'll show you the front camera view just in case this is a little easier for some of you to see, especially all the sparkle. I don't know which one is easier, but I will be posting pictures in our Facebook group and on our Facebook page. Now, for those of you that have never visited our Facebook group, we have a really fun group called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends, and we'd love to have you over there joining us. Boy, you can really see a lot of shine there. Okay, very fun. So I'm going to just glance through Make It by Marco on Etsy. Yes, they are on Etsy, Make It by Marco. The jewel picker I'm using is the Marvy jewel picker. And I really like this one. It's got two ends. It's got a huge ball on this end, and then it's got a tiny ball on this end. I use the small end, but depending on what you want to pick up, you can use this end as well. And it's sticky, it's tacky, but there are also some other really nice jewel type pickers out there, the Crystal Katana tool, and I think Silhouette makes one. So there's a lot of different ones out there, but this is the one that I use. Okay, well, I'm going to put this card aside for now. And then I'm going to start on a second layout with a different stencil. So I never really know which stencil I like the most between these two. I go back and forth. This is the Snowflake Mandala stencil. And I really like this one as well. And we could do a card this way, almost where it comes down across the center. Ooh, let's do that. I have to find a different greeting, but I think I can find one. Actually, I wouldn't even have to find a different greeting, because what I'm thinking is if I even offset it a little bit like that, then I was thinking about using this greeting from the Sparkling Snowflake stamp set, If Hugs Were Snowflakes, Send You a Blizzard. And I like that because sometimes in the winter, you still want to make wintry cards, but you don't want to make Christmas cards, holiday cards. So Oh, I really, really stuck this in here. Totally pixie sprayed. So give me a second to pull it out. I think I used too much pixie spray on this one, but I won't be needing that purple tape. So there we go. Okay. So I could either go here in the center, I could go off to the side. I'm going to go off to the side. There we go. Because you can still tell that that's a snowflake. You can see I have a lot of pixie spray on there. I think I pixie sprayed it and then didn't use it and put it back without being used. So that might not be the best idea. Use it first so some of the tagginess comes off. Okay, this one's going to be a pink snowflake. Actually pink and purple. So I'm going to use a little bit of bubblegum pink for this. And then, so that'll be my darkest color. And then I'm going to fade out to the lavender. So I'll start this with bubblegum. And again, I'm going to start more in the middle of the stencil. And I did bend that, so I'm just going to put my finger there to hold that down. Or I could take a little purple tape and just hold that into place like that. And then once I take it off, I can bend it back. I didn't realize that it was bent. Sometimes they get bent and snap them back into place. All right, so who doesn't like a pink snowflake? All right, so now I'm going to take a piece of cardstock and just rub some of that pink off. Of course, it's harder to see when it's a pink piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to take some of the lovely lavender. And I'm going to do a blend of lavender and pink. So these are close, like in the same vein as far as colors go, but one is definitely purple and one is definitely pink. So we could even add a little blue into this if we wanted to. Should we try that? I don't know, it makes me nervous. Maybe a little, maybe just a little. So I'm going to rub off everything that's on this brush. And if you really want to make sure that your brush is clean, you can also rub it off on a damp tidy towel, and that will get off any, any bulk of color. Okay, and then I'm going to do this really gently. So I'm going to take just a little bit of blue, just a little, that's sea glass. And I'm going to use it on the bubblegum pink cardstock off to the side here. And then I'm just going to add a little bit into the center here and see if that purples it up a little bit in the center. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. I kind of like that. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. Oh yeah, I see a little bit more purple in there. I don't know if that's real visible to you guys, but I kind of like it. All right, so now I'm going to add a greeting to this. And again, I really like that snowflake greeting. It's perfect for just a regular old winter card. It's a friendship card for the winter. So if hugs were snowflakes, I'd send you a blizzard. All right. So I've used this set so many times and I've been really bad about cleaning it. And sometimes when you don't clean the stamp set, the back of the stamp doesn't stick really well. So just give it a good rub with your tidy towel and that will take care of it. And if it's really bad, you can just wash it with a little warm soapy water. Okay, here we go. If hugs were snowflakes, I'd send you a blizzard. So this one I have to be a little more careful with because there is a straight greeting in there. Okay, so again, I'm going to do this one with black onyx, but I'm going to get my ink cube out because there's a lot of delicate words here and I don't want it to go all over my MISTI. I might want to stamp this twice, so we'll see. We'll see how it looks after the first one. Sleeve. And the reason I use my sleeve, and I said this the other night, my skin, because I have so much lotion on all the time, it kind of drags a little bit, but the sleeve is real slippery. Oh, that looks nice. If hugs were snowflakes, I'd send you a blizzard. Love it. Okay. So now I'm going to clean off this stamp, put that back, and then we'll do a little glittering on this. Now, I have played with my Wink of Stella, and Wink of Stella is really fun. It's really hard to see, though, on camera. So I'm thinking I might play with it a little bit here, see what you guys think. But the one thing about Wink of Stella, let me just give you a little information here that some of you, I've had people call me and say, my Wink of Stella does not work. And, you know, open it and they squeeze and they squeeze and they squeeze and nothing comes out. Well, if that's ever happened to you and you've gotten frustrated and you've just thrown the pen away, I want to show you something. So the Wink of Stella has this ring right here, this little black ring, and that comes off. And then once that's off, then the ink will start to flow into the brush. Now, I don't generally keep the rings, but you can if you want. If you're traveling and maybe you're worried that it will squeeze out too much, you can always put the ring back on, and that prevents the tube here of liquid from squirting into the brush. So that's just, I know most of you know that. I know most of you know that, but there's got to be one person out there that didn't know that and thought they just got a bum Wink of Stella. So my Wink of Stella is kind of messy. I'm going to get an acrylic block here, and I'm just going to put some of the Wink of Stella glitter here onto my acrylic block. Every once in a while, I get too much flow out of it. And so by putting it onto my acrylic block and then just using water with it, and I'm talking about an empty water brush now. I don't have water in this brush. I just have a little bit left on it from cleaning it. I'm just going to dry that off. But it does make it a little bit easier to use the Wink of Stella. So I'm going to put a little dot here, a little dot here. And then I'm going to try to catch this on camera, but I'll tell you, Wink of Stella, the glitter is so fine and it's so sparkly in real life, but it is a bear trying to catch it on camera. So for any of you who have tried to take pictures of your sparkly Wink of Stella, same with the Stardust pen, it is so hard to capture that sparkle on a still photo. I seem to be able to capture loose glitter, no problem. But this is much more of a problem for me. But I will do the best that I can to try to capture the shimmer. And I think that's the main difference. With the Wink of Stella and the Stardust Sakura pen, it's more of a shimmer and less of a glittery sparkle. Now, I don't know if you know this, but you can mix some of this with a little bit of water, and you can kind of rub it all over your cardstock with a brush, and it'll just give you a shimmery look to your cardstock too. I usually do that before I do anything to the cardstock, unless you know that you have an ink that's not going to react to the water. So this is a little harder even for me to see in this light. Let me see if I can capture any of the sparkle here. Maybe a little. Maybe a little. but it's definitely really, really pretty in real life. It's just, you know, I've been making videos for so many years, and this is the one thing that has always been hard to show you how beautiful it is in real life. But I'm going to add just a little bit more of this. The one thing that's cool about this is it does dry really quickly. So if you don't want to get glue and you don't want to, you know, have the mess of loose glitter, this is a really, really quick way to add shimmer and sparkle. And again, it dries really quickly. And I feel like the, when I look at the two next to each other, the Sakura pen and the Wink of Stella, I don't really see too much of a difference. Is that what this is? This is Wink of Stella, right? Yeah, Wink of Stella. There is another one too, the Spectrum Sparkle, and that's really pretty too. I do have one of those at work. I should bring that home and play with that. But they're all very, very comparable as far as the amount of sparkle and shimmer. So then it really depends on what colors you like and what you're looking to do, what's comfortable in your hand. Some people like the Sakura pen because it feels a lot like a ballpoint pen. It is like a ballpoint pen, actually. It's got a little roller ball in the top. Okay, so that's just a little bit of the sparkle in there. I wonder if you could see it better on the front camera, or if I could. I just have to see. I can see it more. Oh yeah, there you go. Can you see all that shimmer? It's just when you turn it into the light, the parts that kind of go white are all shimmery and sparkly. All right. So we'll go back overhead now. So this is real easy to clean up. You can either use your tidy towel or just a little bit of water and just wipe it right up. I use acrylic blocks for a lot of things. I put re-inkers on them. I tend to work on the back of a smooth acrylic block a lot. And then for my water brush, I can just dip that again in the water to clean it up and just remove any of that sparkle. And it's fine. It's still ready to go. It's the same one that I used for the glue. So should I add a few little sequins on here? I think I should. But let me put the card base on there first. So I always tend to like blues better. Blue is like my color, my go-to color, you know, aqua, anything aqua. But I really do like pink and purple too. And you can also do, you know, other combinations too. You can do some blue into green and then the blue into purple on the other side. So have like 3 different colors going at once. I feel like I should cut a thin hair off of here. That's very nerve-wracking to do, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it a shot. All right, here I go. And it's really just on the one side that I feel I have to cut the hair off. So, see, that's a hair. That's what I mean. It is really a hair. But I feel like that's a little better. I don't know, maybe that's obsessive, but you know me, right? Okay, so I'm going to put this aside for a second, and I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock in half for a card base here. So let me go to 5.5 inches. We'll put that aside for later. And then I'm going to score this. Now, I saw in one of our threads, somebody was talking about scoring, and they said that when they score, they actually cut the paper when they folded it, and the paper just split. And there's a reason for that. It depends on, a lot of it depends on what you use to score the cardstock. So I use the tool that comes with the Score Buddy, but I know some of you use a bone folder. Some of you even use a stylus that has the little ball on the end. But the thing about it is, like, when I'm using something like this, I don't want to be straight up and down. I want to be on the side. I want to hit it here and not here. Because if I hit it here, I'm going to like cut into the cardstock. And here, I'm just going to bend into the cardstock. So more of a side angle. Okay. And then the big key with cardstock is to not fold inward, but once you've made that dent, you've stretched the fibers and you want to fold away. And when you fold away, then you don't get that cracked edge because you've stretched the fibers so the edge won't crack. And so that's how you do that. And I actually have a video out there called Crack-Free Card Bases or Crack-Free Cardstock. It's an old video. I don't know which hair I'm wearing in that video, but I'm sure that if you look up crack-free folding, you'll find my video. All right, so I'm going to adhere this to the card base. And then I'm going to put a couple little sequins on here. And then this one will be done. So again, you know, you can make spots to add sequins. They don't really have to be circle spots. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some sequins. I'll put one here, one here, one there. So that'll be 3. And then I'll put one here, 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 here. Boy, I must have really had a lot of air in this because I have bubbles burping all over the place. Okay. All right. And I'm going to use those same disco ball sequins. And I keep mine in this little container. And I saw this container on one of Jennifer McGuire's My Favorite Crafty Things videos. I'm not even sure what it's called, but if you check out her My Crafty Things videos on storage, you will find these. Okay, so I'm going to pop these into place. I really like these sequins. We got to get more of these in. Come on. We also have some new cool embellishments coming that I think you guys are going to really like. I love embellishments. I've gotten really, really into sequins and sparkles and pearls and crystals, all that kind of stuff on my cards. And they're fun because you can just pop them into place and it really, really adds a lot. Sometimes it's hard to tell if they're upside down or not. That one doesn't even have a hole in it. And somebody was asking if we could get some sparkly things in that don't have holes in them. And my answer is yes. We have them on the way. Okay. So there we go. There's a pretty snowflake card. And that's really fun. Okay, so I'll find the other card. I think I threw it across my island here. Let me grab it. Here's the other one. So those are the 2 different looks, 2 different stencils. This one is the Stellar Snowflake, and this one is the Snowflake Mandala. And both are really fun. Snowflakes are great for, you know, regular cards too. They don't always have to be holiday cards. So snowflakes are just a great winter card. They make a great winter birthday card. Snowflakes are fine for masculine cards. I mean, you can really, really do a lot with them. They're really fun. And of course, stencils are always fun when it comes to using with pastes and glitz glitter gel and things like that. All right, so wow, that hour just flew by. I have to find my little sheet of cardstock here where I have what I want to say, my end of the night quote. So tonight's topic was sadness and disappointment. We talked a little bit about at some point you just have to kind of shake it off and start thinking about some of the things that you're grateful for and fill your head up with the good stuff. It's really hard to think 2 thoughts at the same time. So if you're thinking a negative one and you start thinking a positive one, then it's very difficult to be thinking about that negative one. So my quote for tonight, let me just move this up here so I can see it a little bit better. There comes a time where you have to make a conscious effort not to let anyone or anything rent space in your head if they aren't a good tenant. So that's my show for tonight, everybody. I am so grateful for all of you for being here. I hope you had a good time. I hope you'll try some of these quick and easy glittering techniques. And I will be back on Wednesday with who knows what, but it's going to be fun. So you guys have a great Tuesday. I love you all so much, and I'll see you again soon. Okay? Bye-bye.